today I'm going to show you how to make pretzels. So you need 35 grams of butter and then 175 mils of milk. So 35 butter and 175 mils of milk. And what you're going to do is you're going to melt that butter and warm up that milk on the hob on a low heat. So while your butter and milk is melting and just slightly warming up, you're going to add 285 grams of strong bread flour to a large mixing bowl. 285. That's strong bread flour. You're going to add 15 grams of caster sugar. 15 grams of caster sugar. You're going to add a good pinch of salt for flavour. And you're going to add 7 grams of yeast. Now, 7 grams would be 1 sachet if you have sachets. If you've got a pot like this, I'm just going to measure it out. So you need 7 grams of yeast. And then you're just going to give that a good mix together. So evenly distribute the yeast, the sugar, the salt and the flour. So 285 flour, 15 sugar, a good pinch of salt and 7 grams of yeast. So I've melted my butter and warmed my milk together and I've just allowed that to cool slightly. You don't want it too hot, otherwise you're going to kill the yeast off. And what you're going to gradually do is add your milk and butter mixture to the bowl and bring it together with a spoon. Now, you've made bread dough several times, so you should know now what the dough should look like. You want to bring it together. You don't want it to be too dry, but equally you don't want it to be too wet either. So you gradually add the milk and butter mixture. You can slowly see that coming together. Need some more. I'm not going to add it all at once in case it doesn't need it all. So I don't want to add too much because I can't take it out, but I can always add more. So tilt your bowl on the side. You can slowly now start to see that coming together. Once it starts to come together, you can get your hand in there. Make sure you've got clean hands and a clean work surface. You might want to just put a tiny little bit of flour ready on the surface for kneading. So I'm going to get my hand in there and bring the dough together. Now, just so it's not dry, I'm going to add just a tiny bit more of that butter and milk mixture, just to get it all stuck. Now, kneading the bowl to start with, just till it all sticks together. Then, on your floured surface, you're going to knead for 10 minutes. Okay, so you can either use the palm of your hand, like this, or your knuckles. I prefer the palm of my hand. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit more flour down. So any flour, you don't have to use bread flour, you can just use plain flour. So with the palm of your hand, you push away, you fold, you turn. Push, fold, turn. Push, fold, turn. Push, fold, turn. So you just get really quick, you just kind of end up doing all 3 together. Okay, sharing between both hands. So push it away, turn it around and fold it. Okay, or push, fold, turn, push, turn, fold. If it's not sticking, you don't need to add more flour. Only add more flour if it's sticking to the surface. You're now going to knead your dough for 10 minutes. Okay, keep kneading till you'll get a lovely smooth surface on your bread. So once you've kneaded the dough now for 8 to 10 minutes and it starts to look smooth on the surface, you're going to leave it to prove. So you can either put it back in a clean bowl or on a baking tray. I'm using a baking tray. I've just put a little bit of fry light on there to stop it from sticking. I'm going to put my dough on the baking tray, and I'm going to cover my baking tray with a little bit of cling film just to stop the top from drying out. So I'm just going to put a little bit of cling film over the top, just so the surface of the dough doesn't start cooking and going dry. You're now going to leave this in a warm place until it doubles in size. So what you're looking for is the dough now for the yeast to release CO2 and to make it larger. So you're going to leave it in a warm place. I'm going to put it in a proving drawer. So I've put my oven on, and at the bottom the drawer's heated up. So I'm just going to add my dough to the bottom of my oven. So it's somewhere nice and warm. It's not cooking, it's just somewhere warm. So you're going to take your dough out of proving. So mine has risen, doubled in size. Remove the cling film, put a little bit of flour down on the surface. And what I'm going to do is just knead the dough. It's called knocking back. I'm just going to knead that dough. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cut your dough into 8 equal sized pieces. So we need 8 pieces as close as we can to the same size. Okay, so in half, in half, in half. And then by eye, you'll be able to just take off some of the bigger ones maybe and add it to the smaller ones. Okay. What you're then going to do with these 8 pieces of dough is roll them into 50 centimetre lengths. So we need these pieces of dough rolled to 50 centimetres, or as long as you can, because it's the rope shape that we use to shape them into pretzels. So rolling them between your hands to try and get them to about 50 centimetres. Okay, so nearly 2 ruler lengths. Okay. So once you have your 8 roughly 50 centimetre ropes, you're then going to shape them. So I will show you how to do that. So get your first rope. You're going to turn it into an upside down U. An upside down U. You're then going to twist the ends 2 times and then fold it over to join the top and then squeeze it on. Okay, so I'll show you that again. An upside down U. Obviously the longer these are, the easier it is to do this process, the step of shaping them. So an upside down U, at the ends you twist them over a couple of times. You then, I'm going to twist it one more, fold it up to join the top of the circle, then squeeze the ends into the top of the circle so they don't come unstuck. Okay, upside down U, twist the ends a couple of times and then bring those ends up to the top and squeeze them onto the dough. Push them down and then you can always reshape the pretzels. Okay, upside down U, twist at the bottoms a couple of times, then bring that up to the top of the circle, squeezing it into the top of the dough. Okay, you're going to repeat this with all 8 pretzels. Lost its shape a little bit. So U, oh, that one's now come apart, squeeze it back together. Twist the bottoms, bring it up, squeeze. Last one. Upside down U, twist, bring it up to the top of the circle and shape at the top. Ready for the next stage. So next you need to have ready a baking tray to put your pretzels on. So I just lined a baking tray with some baking paper. You need a saucepan with approximately 10 centimetres of boiling water. You need 1 tablespoon of bicarbonate of soda. So 1 tablespoon of bicarbonate of soda into your boiling water. 1 tablespoon. Okay, so you then need a slotted spoon. And what you're going to do is you're going to gently pop your first pretzel in the boiling water. You're going to leave that to soak in there for 20 seconds. So you're going to leave your pretzel in there for about 20 seconds. Once it's had 20 seconds soaking time, you're then going to take it out with your slotted spoon and pop it onto your baking tray. You're then going to repeat this for all 8 pretzels, okay? So shake off any excess water and pop it on your baking tray. Then move on to the next pretzel. So 20 seconds. While you're doing this, you could preheat your oven. You need your oven at 180 or gas mark 4, because you're then going to bake your pretzels for 15 minutes. So once it's had 20 seconds, shake off any excess water, carefully place it on your baking tray. So they don't need long in the water, just 20 seconds. Repeat this with all 8 pretzels. So once you have all 8 pretzels on your baking tray or trays, they're now going to go in the oven at 180 or gas mark 4 for 15 minutes until they're golden brown. So while your pretzels are baking, you need a plate and a teaspoon. You need 30 grams of caster sugar, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then you need a teaspoon of cinnamon as well. And you're going to mix the two together on a plate. You need a plate because you've got to dip your pretzels in here. So it's easier on a little plate or maybe a chopping board. So you're just making some cinnamon sugar. If you like cinnamon, you could maybe add a little bit more. Okay, so just gently stir the cinnamon into the sugar. You can always make more if you need more for your pretzels. So cinnamon sugar. And then in a little bowl, you need 30 grams of butter. You're going to melt this. When your pretzels come out of the oven, you're going to brush the melted butter on your pretzel and then dip in your cinnamon sugar. So when you're ready, 30 grams of butter melted, something you could spread with, 30 grams of caster sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon. If you like it stronger, you can add a little bit more. Okay, so that's what you need to do while you're waiting for your pretzels to come out of the oven. So once your pretzels come out of the oven, you need to brush them with butter. First. So you're going to brush each pretzel with some of the melted butter. And once you've brushed the melted butter on, turn it upside down in the cinnamon sugar and display on your plate. Okay, so I'll repeat that again. Brush with the melted butter So down in your cinnamon sugar, so it all sticks. And display. Repeat that for all 8. Now I just wanted to show you, I made one at the start without the bicarbonate of soda. So you can see there the difference with adding the bicarbonate of soda to the water. It's just not golden brown like the other pretzels have. So make sure you add that bicarbonate of soda to the water, otherwise you won't get the lovely golden colour. Cinnamon pretzels complete.